Hey guys! Wow, it has been a heck of a week. I tell you what, we have had stomach flu going around at our house for about the past week, a little more than a week. And yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm just over it completely. Actually, not everyone has gotten it. It started with Belle. She caught it from school. Bubba briefly had it in there, and then I did too. And I think one of the worst parts of a virus like that is when the first person comes home with it, it's like, okay, this is my future for a while. And sometimes you just want to pull yourself together. Sometimes you just want to feel better. And sometimes taking that extra time for yourself in the morning can make a world of difference actually in your outlook, just your overall vibe for the day. And so this is kind of a pull yourself together look. And it doesn't matter when you fit it in. You know, maybe you don't feel like doing it at all and that's cool. Maybe you find you got a little time at 4 in the afternoon and you're like, you know, I'd feel a lot better if I did some makeup.
Couple glasses of Pedialyte and I'm feeling like a new woman. I even did like 5-minute makeup.
But yet it does kind of need to be simple, not too time consuming, but it needs to have an effect, you know? So that's what this look is about. Last few days I've kind of gotten back into my It Cosmetics CC cream. This is just the regular version of it, the SPF 50. I wear it in the shade Light. A full pump of this is a lot of makeup. I don't know if I've ever really addressed that before, but I'm going to go down and give myself maybe not quite a full pump and just dab this around on the skin, and it just gives, you know, great coverage. It's a great little quick product to really get a lot of bang for your buck. And sometimes with ordeals like this, you know, it's nothing serious, you know, it's not the end of the world, but when we're knee deep in our own lives and our own stuff, it always seems like a lot, right? You know, the household is kind of my domain, and when all the routines and the way all your people are feeling gets shaken, you know, it's very upsetting and just stressful, you know? And sometimes, you know, we just need to see the bigger picture of things. We need to stop and say, I'm dealing with this now, I'm not dealing with this forever. I'm strong enough to jump over whatever this hurdle is at the time. So I've got my CC cream blended in, and I just use my e.l.f. Duo complexion brush. It Cosmetics has the same kind of brush, of course. Oh, we're getting special weather statements. Dense fog. Then I threw on like a very brightening concealer. This is that new one from Too Faced. It's the Born This Way Ethereal Light in the shade Oatmeal. I actually really like this concealer. I think it does a great job. It's not maybe the most like blanket out full coverage thing, but it is really brightening and it wears well and it doesn't look heavy on the skin. So I'm just hitting around all those little zones, and I can use my very same brush, and I'm using the small part to kind of spread this around, and then I'll use my larger part to kind of tap and buff it in, okay? But who else out there is such a creature of habit, routine type of person? Like, I am so staunchly in my morning routine, you know, and when that gets messed with, it's hard. Like, going throughout your day, things just feel weird when you don't do it the same. It kind of reminds me of like being back in the newborn phase where it was like, all right, I might do my makeup today. It might be 4 in the afternoon, but we're getting through it. I made my crock pot chicken and dumplings last night, which a tricky part about stomach flu is not just dealing with people as they're having it, but easing into regular foods, not doing it too quickly. And I thought that would be a good thing to make that might be easy on the stomach, and so I had some of that last night and it was really good. And I used to do it where you'd put the refrigerated biscuits like in your crock pot. You put them at the top of your crock pot after your chicken and everything's gotten done cooking, and that was good, but it would always be like just such a waiting game for it to get done. Now I just bake the biscuits in the oven, have them, put them in a bowl like open, and then spoon my chicken and vegetable mixture on top of that, and it's great. And you get more of that biscuity texture, which I like. So there's that concealer all blended in, and doesn't that look great? Like, I just really am impressed by how brightening that truly is. And then I'm just going to hit it with a little Rimmel Stay Matte in Creamy Natural and my powder puff. Just dabbing right over the under eye. I tend to always have pretty good staying power with the It Cosmetics CC cream, but this just kind of, you know, locks in those key areas. Next, the steps that just make you smile and make you glad you did your makeup, the bronzer and the blush. I mean, bringing some life and color to the skin. I'm going to use my True Match Lumi bronzer in the shade Deep, which really isn't all that deep, you know, like it's not incredibly dark. It's just kind of cool and it has a little glow to it. I picked some of that up. on my BK Beauty 107 brush. And we're just going to get that all up around the hairline. Another thing about this whole stomach flu time is, like, I've been not wanting to get my mom and dad involved in any of it either. And they help me out a lot over here with the kids. But as soon as I saw this coming on, I'm like, nope, we're not getting you guys sick. But naturally, it's a time when you can use a lot of help. And in the spirit of not getting others sick, you don't get much help. But doesn't it make you grateful for the days when you're not sick? It's like when you randomly get a cold and then you're like, oh, I never sat around thinking how great it was to be able to breathe through my nose easily. Definitely perks up your gratitude. And then you got to pop on a blush that makes an impact. You know, you got to dig for one of those blushes where you're like, yeah, this really goes there. I'm going to use Krista from Benefit. This is one of their, like, in the newer release of blushes. It's bold, okay? It's like a bold coral. So I'm just going to stick my blush brush in there and give myself this lively pop on the cheeks that just makes you go, yep, like we just unlocked the next level, you know? Radiance restored kind of thing. This is such a pretty blush, and I do love the smell of it too. It's just got that like fresh Benefit smell, you know, that the blushes have. It's really hard to put your finger on exactly what it is, but if you were blindfolded and you have used a lot of makeup, you kind of know that that's Benefit. And I would just say build slowly with this because it can have a ton of intensity. I would guess this would have intensity on most skin tones, so just kind of add on a little at a time. I'm just using my e.l.f. blush brush. Just getting a little bit of that pigment on there and going on like that. Next up, a little bit of highlight. We're using the Lumi Glow Nude palette. And which shade will we use? Let's go for the most light and bright. Just right up here. I love these highlighters because they are just the epitome of brightening. They're not necessarily the most shimmery, but they do the most for your skin in terms of just lifting it up and making it brighter. This makeup look is just basically trickery. No, I'm not sick. Or I haven't been sick recently, you know. And then I'm going to set this with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. And, you know, this just feels good to me. Suddenly things are coming back. Now, when I did my makeup on that random day that I wasn't feeling well, I'll tell you, I didn't take near this long. I mean, I just whipped it on. I wasn't narrating and telling stories and blah, blah, blah. But e.l.f. Skinny Brow Pencil here in Cool Brown. Just think CC cream, concealer, powder blush, bronze, highlight if you want. I think the blush is maybe one of the most important steps though. Isn't it crazy how this time of year, one windy day, if you have a cottonwood tree, half the leaves are gone. A good chunk of leaves just fell yesterday. But it was such a nice temperature outside. You know, there was that breeze. It was still nice short sleeve weather, but you weren't feeling hot at all, and you definitely weren't sweating. Took a nice little walk out to the pond, and then it started raining. And we always joke, like there's this, near our pond, there's this shelter kind of area where there's picnic tables and stuff underneath. And we always joke about like, oh, if there were a storm, we'd just run in there for shelter, you know. The girls love thinking about storm and like disaster situations, you know, like 7 and 5-year-olds do, right? And so yesterday we took this little walk, and then out of the blue it starts raining, and we're right by the shelter. And I can't tell you how excited Biddy and Belle were to say, run to the shelter, take cover. But I just love this time of year. I'm using a little Thick-It Stick-It just to hold these puppies in place. And now what I did for my eyes the other day, I really didn't feel like doing anything. When I'm kind of doing this sort of survival mode makeup, I don't really care to do a big eyeshadow look. So I just took my powder puff with a little Rimmel Stay Matte, and I just went over my lids. And if you wanted to make a little bit more of this situation, I think that L'Oreal Lumi bronzer would be perfect on the eyes, actually, this one. But the idea isn't to stress yourself out more with the makeup look. It's to make yourself feel a little more alive and just kind of go easy on yourself, okay? So this does look pretty, though, on the crease. Just a little bit. Okay, next up, you're going to find your best, most impactful mascara, and that's going to be what the eyes are all about. Okay, so I'm grabbing Superhero. I'm just curling my lashes. I'm just going to let this do all the work for me. I don't feel like eyeliner. I'm not going to do anything intricate shadow-wise. I just want the lashes to stand at attention and stay there all day, please. And then we throw on a lip and the look is complete. Basically, we put some work into the skin, but not a lot of work elsewhere. It's the healing makeup look, okay? See, big in a second. But I did get some on my eyelid, but it's not a big deal. We just had a little powder on there anyway. See, look at that. Look at that monstrous lash. There's the new mascara, Monstrous Lash by Lancome. Lancome's not putting that out. We all know that's gonna be a Wet n Wild seasonal Halloween special edition mascara. Next up, if there was ever a day to go like a little light in your lower rim, it might be if you've lost some sleep or you've been sick. That brightness there can really wake up the eye. And so I use this ABH double-ended pencil. It's called Matte Camille and Sand Shimmer. So it's the matte end that I'm using there. And it's ever so slightly pinky toned, but you know, overall kind of beigey, and it just works in there. And then if you want to do a little lower mascara, you know, go for it. I think it just kind of frames my eye up a little bit better if this is all I'm doing. Now for the lips, you want to go somewhere with it. You don't want to just leave them bare. Don't just do lip balm. Go for a color. My lips are pretty dry from the cold I've been through as well, so I'm going to do lip liner topped with something that feels downright juicy and really hydrating. So this is Revlon Color Stay Lip Liner in the shade Mink. It's kind of a pinky shade. Soft berry might be one way to describe it. So I'm going to fill this in for the staying power, because I know that once any shine that I put on top fades, I'll still have some of this. And just get the whole lips filled in with that. So really pretty shade there. And then I grabbed my Revlon Shine formula in the shade Glossed Up Rose. So these are those ones that kind of look like newfound lip butters, you know, and it's just got some moisture. They feel good on the lips. And look at the shine now. I think you need some shine on the lips. You gotta bring back the life, right? And then you look and you say, more blush. Back to the Krista. Sometimes your look has to be complete before you fully know where the blush stands and where the blush needs to go. And let it rise up to even almost into your under eye area. You know, that's where I think it almost looks a little more convincing when it gets up higher. Now we're ready, we're feeling more pulled together. It doesn't have to be the most glam look. I think it just amounts to some coverage on the skin, some brightness on the cheeks, a little color on the lips, a little mascara. Trying to boost the morale, okay? Thank you guys so much for joining me as I got ready for the day today. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope if you're also dealing with any back to school illnesses, I hope you get through them quickly and with as little stress as possible. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you again very soon. Oh, I have a really exciting thing that I'm going to be reviewing probably this week. All I'm going to say is, if you like the It Cosmetics beauty books, it's that kind of concept, okay? So coming soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then. I love you. Bye.